Hi, I'm Jim Bledsoe. I am a board advisor to Solid Green Systems. Tonight here with me is David Carolyn, founder and CEO of Solid Green Systems. I'm going to change roles a little bit and be kind of like the Matt Lauer, minus the looks and minus the $50 million paycheck. So we're going to do a few questions and answers, and then if there's time on the clock here, we'll do a little bit of audience participation. So if there's time, please have a question ready. So Dave, could you give the audience here kind of a working definition of sustainable? What does sustainable mean? What does green mean? We think back to the days where Kermit the Frog talked about it's not easy being green. So talk a little bit about how you feel. Is it easy being green?
It is easy being green if you know what green is. So it's more than a color. If you're familiar with green, it could be anything to trash recycling, bamboo floors, taking care of waste properly, or anything else. But when we're talking about green in construction, we're talking about sustainability, using materials that are environmentally friendly and resource efficient. And that provides 2 or 3 different types of benefits for people. Energy usage should go down, water usage and waste usage should go down. But in addition to those things, you should find yourself having a more healthy environment in which you're living in. And lastly, you should be able to pass that building on to the next generation and the next generation. And so what you end up with is something that truly could last many lifetimes. And that's a goal that we should all strive for.
Thank you. Dr. Destigmatize talked about some myths, and we're not going to play the total Mythbusters routine tonight, but what are some of the myths about green? What are people thinking, and how do people emotionally react to green and sustainability?
Well, there's probably 2 things that I see people do mostly. And the first thing is they can't figure out where to get started with it. And then the second one, when they do start something, they realize it may cost too much and they can't get a handle on a budget. And this is especially true for retrofitting a house, to maybe building something new or adding solar. Things can kind of get out of hand when it comes to the information that's out there and how to best use it to your advantage.
So Bob, can you click the next slide? So talking about some of the the myths that are out there, and keep going one more time. So what is green building? And it kind of depends. So I've put up a bunch of these terms today, so some of you people might be able to relate to it. But what it kind of translates to, Dave, is it looks like it's just a lot of noise out there. So how does that translate to the cost? How can you make a user, an occupant, a consumer comfortable with taking the Mythbuster route, destigmatizing, what's the myth associated with cost?
Well, usually it costs too much. It costs too much today to get the benefit later. And then the other part of cost is how much time it takes to determine what you ought to do. So collaboration becomes a key component in getting your project done. And then it becomes getting new people skills to figure out who is the right team to put together. So that's something that we're pretty good at, collaboration.
Okay. So talk a little bit more about what it means to the consumer. If you're a futurist, if you're a strategist, what's on the horizon? What can people expect relative to the cost of energy, the cost to operate this building right here? How can you partner with other outfits to be able to get to what's known as net zero? And if you can spend a moment talking about what net zero is.
Sure. Well, net zero is really a great goal that we should have for energy usage. And it is actually very interesting in today's market. It's actually possible to get there a lot less costly than you might expect. And what that usually means is you have a very efficient building envelope. So you should already start out in a place where you're saving at least 50% of your energy, heating, and cooling cost using LED lights. And then, of course, working on the least amount of water usage, especially heating water. And then lastly, if you can add any kind of alternative energy to the building, like solar or wind, then you can find yourself at very low energy usage and maybe zero and maybe negative energy usage where you can actually sell that energy back into the grid. And I think that's socially responsible and it's good for your pocketbook.
We've got the lightning round coming up. We've got about 40 seconds left. So from the audience, who has a question for Dave Carolyn regarding green or sustainability or solid green systems?
What is solid green systems? What do you guys do?
We are innovators and we manufacture wall and roof panels, and we put these systems together so that we can build the shell of the envelope of your home or building, and then we partner with energy companies and technology companies so that you can get to net zero energy, and we try to always keep that cost as close as possible to conventional construction like with wood.
Thank you very much.